Hello everyone, so today I wanted to share with you and document an experiment I'm doing with carnivorous plants and fertilizer. Nobody panic, I promise everything is fine. Common belief is that you cannot and should not fertilize carnivorous plants. But depending on the species, the fertilizer, and how you're fertilizing, it can actually be very successful. I'm concerned about the well-being of this plant if it is not catching insects and gaining the nitrogen it needs. Nitrogen is the reason why carnivorous plants are carnivorous. They evolved that way because they lived in nutrient-poor areas and needed to substitute stuff that they were missing in the soil with insects. So I did some research, and after some careful thinking and planning, this is what I decided to do with my Venus flytrap. I'm using this fertilizer. They say that you can use pretty much any orchid fertilizer except Miracle-Gro, and I'm pretty sure that is because Miracle-Gro may use urea, and Better Grow orchid food is urea-free. So here's the nutrient list on the fertilizer I'm using. Sorry about the packaging. I tried fixing it, but it was just no use. But you can see it says, contains no urea and nitrogen. And the first ingredient on it is nitrogen. So this would be a good substitute for insects. Here's what the actual fertilizer looks like. As you can see, it's small, pretty beaded. Some of it's crushed up into a powder. So I put one of those small little beads of fertilizer in the spray bottle and then filled up the rest with distilled water and shook it up real well to make sure that it was mixed in and very diluted. And then I sprayed a cotton ball with the mixture, and I dabbed the inside of these traps. Just a couple of them because I don't want to overfeed the plant. So the reason why I did it on the traps is because my plan is to foliar feed my carnivorous plants. And these traps are modified leaves. And the inside of those traps is obviously able to absorb nutrients because that's where they liquefy the insect and absorb all that. Now this is a very common fly trap that you can find practically anywhere, so I'm not worried about losing it. I mean, I could pick up a new one if I wanted to. This is for science. I can deal with it. My next experiment is with Cape Sundew, or Drosera compensis. So what I did is I also sprayed that mixture on some of these low-hanging leaves that were hanging outside of the pot, just so I made sure not to get any in the soil. I also used beta food, and you can see how the leaves are curling around the pellet. Some of them didn't react that way, like this one. Not many of the tendrils are wrapped around it. But there was one leaf that was completely folded over. So it's just interesting to see. You really can't overfeed a sundew. Like, I'm sure it's possible, but they're pretty ravenous, so I'm not worried about doing this every couple weeks or so. My next plan of attack is with Sarracenia and Nepenthes pitcher plants. Here's where my Sarracenias are, right near the west-facing window, because they're sun-loving plants. Now, with pitcher plants, with ones that fill up with fluid, I learned that you could use Osmocote slow-release pellets, and you can drop them in the pitcher, like once every couple weeks or so. And that is supposed to have good results. So I think as soon as I get Osmocote, I'm going to try that with my Sarracenia purpurea, because I've had this guy for a while, and he's doing really nice, but I want to feed him so he does even better. And this guy is my most recent Sarracenia, and so I'm going to wait a little longer before I feed him, maybe until he gets a little bigger. But yeah, I'll do the same with this guy. This is Sarracenia Dana's Delight. just as a little seedling. So it's a little hard to see, but I heard that with traps like these that are pretty dry, you should just use like liquid fertilizer. So I'm just going to use the diluted orchid fertilizer on this guy. Now this is one of my most recent purchases. It is Nepenthes ventricosa. I'm super excited to have this guy because I've wanted a tropical pitcher plant for the longest time. So my plan with this guy is to use Osmocote pellets inside his pitchers. And I heard that you could use the foliar feeding mix that I just made and spray that on his leaves, but I'm afraid that I'm going to get it all in the soil and I don't want to risk losing this guy. So I'm just going to use an Osmocote pellet once he's adjusted and everyone's happy. So yeah, I thought this would be pretty interesting to share with you guys. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, and I'm excited to see the results. I'll see you around. Bye!